blur and focus events. Technically, blur and focus are nothing but, so when you move the mouse pointer, when you click inside the control, that means it is focus. And you came out of it, that means it is blur, right? For example, here, let's add a new file here. So blur HTML. So here we are calling the events like script head section, and in that script, and we have if body, and here we have name. So input type is equal to text, and ID is equal to txt name, and we put a placeholder here as name in block letters. That's the option we have given. Now important is when user clicks inside the text box, when user clicks inside the text box to type something, so and he starts typing, then that means when you click inside, that is focus, and you start typing something, so it will be placeholder will be disappeared, and the message is no longer visible here. So what we can do is, when it gets focus, we can display message, and when it lose focus, we can hide the message. So here, so we are defining a simple span here. So we are using a span ID as MSG. Now we have two events for this text box: on focus, show message. Okay, on blur means when it loses the focus, hide message. Okay, so we are writing those functions here. Function show message function will display when control gets focus. Then what we are doing here is, so we are accessing here, so where MSG is document.getElement by ID MSG. Now here on show message, MSG.innerHTML is equal to name in block letters. That message we are displaying. That means actually the intention is when I click inside, so it should display that, and I need to declare this inside this location. Yeah, inside this. Okay. Now when show message happen, I click inside, then it will display that message, name in block letters. Now I click outside, then it should be hidden. It should not be displayed. Then what we do is function. So on focus, so we can directly put some message in one line. We can do that. So function, that is hide message document get element by ID MSG dot inner HTML. We keep empty. That means you see now I click inside, then it shows that message. Until I am typing inside this, the message will be there. I click outside, then the message is gone. Whenever you click inside, that means the element gets focus, it will show the message. Blur means it loses the focus. When it loses the focus, that message will not be there. So we have get focus, and on blur. Now on blur, not just hiding that message, we can even convert this into capital letters. For example, see here I am writing a logic. So where txt name is equal to document.element txt name. that is text box. Now what we need to do is, so here we are defining txt name dot value is equal to txt name dot value. It is nothing but whatever the value you entered in text box. So the text box value is collected and assigned to the same text box again. That means the value of text box is collected and assigned to the same text box again. But this time we will convert this value to uppercase. To uppercase is a string function which will convert into uppercase. That means I will refresh this now. I am typing here some name. And after typing, I finished and click outside. Then it should be converted to uppercase. I entered some lowercase here and I clicked outside. It should be converted to uppercase. So we are typing something. So I click outside and on blur, it is doing two things. It is hiding the message. It is collecting the name and converting the name into uppercase letters and assigning to the same text box again. And when I click outside, that means you can see here I am typing. I click outside, it will be converted to uppercase. Such actions are usually performed by using these two options, blur and focus. Blur means loses the focus. Focus means gets the focus. Similarly, you can have simple operations like so cut, like copy, like paste. Generally, cut, copy, paste are nothing but so specifies actions. So actions to perform on cut, copy and paste, copy and paste, cut, copy and paste. So the actions to perform on cut, copy and paste. So now these are regularly used. For example, suppose I am copying anything, I am cutting some information, paste. According to that, status message should come, because these days you can see in mobile applications especially, you used a long press to copy. The message copied or not, sometimes doubt. You go and paste, it is not coming. That means we need a confirmation whether that action finished successfully or not. So for such confirmation and such interactions, you can manage these events. That means how to write them. Suppose here I am writing event on cut. On cut is equal to, so cut function will be called. Okay, on copy is equal to copy function will be called. And on paste is equal to paste function will be called, right? So we will call those functions here and we will define them. So function, so cut function should display, so document dot get element by id msg dot inner html. It should display removed and copied to clipboard. So clipboard, generally cut means it will remove and copy to clipboard. Similarly, so we need copy and paste. I will select the copy, and here on copy I am displaying the message. On copy we are displaying the message copy to clipboard. This message should come. And on paste, so it should display a message. Generally, clipboard is the temporary memory for Windows. So generally cut, copy are placed in clipboard. And here we say inserted from clipboard. Inserted from clipboard. Okay. That means what happens now here is I am clicking and I am typing something. So welcome to JavaScript. And I selected this and I right click and select the option as copy or cut. and it says removed and copy to clipboard, and I right click and paste, then it says inserted from clipboard. I click outside, that message is gone. I select this and copy, right click and copy, then it says copy to clipboard, and I will insert here, it is pasted, inserted from clipboard. So that is how we can display the status of various messages. So that is on cut, copy and paste, how we can handle the function. Now in interviews, some important questions are asked related to this, that I will tell you after this, how to manage that. So this is cut, copy, paste, blur and focus like events. So one simple example for this is an example for these events. Just we are defining some actions on those events. Blur means lose the focus, focus means gets the focus, and cut, copy, paste. Remember, many times we need to get the focus and lose the focus dynamically also. So an example I will show you how you can get the focus dynamically. So here these are the actions performed on various one. In interviews, many interviews, one question is asked regularly is how to disable cut, copy, paste, selection and right click in page. That is very much asked in interviews. Many websites, when we use those, their data is having some copyrights, so that's the reason they don't want their data to be copied, cut, perform such operations. Even some websites will not allow you to right click also. So that means you need to understand how to configure the actions, how we can disable them. Selection disable, right click disable. Generally for that we use event on context menu. On context menu is nothing but it specifies actions on right click. Similarly on selection start. That means it specifies actions on selection start. So actions on selection start. On selector, that means it specifies action. Selection starting means you are clicking and dragging, then it is selection start. Actions on selection start. Yeah. Actions on select. So these are the events we regularly use on context menu, on selection start, on select. So these events will perform right click, selection and all. What we can do is we can disable. So to disable, the answer is nothing but you can disable these disable the event by returning false, by return false, by using return false. If any event is returning false, that event will not work. That is one simple logic we have to follow. So that means, for example, I want to design a page. It is very important question, disabled HTML. It is very important question asked here. The question is, here I am designing. So head section. So, or just we have the body and we have a heading. So right click is disabled. Right click, cut, copy, selection, selection are disabled on this page. So that is the option. You can observe currently they are working. That means here I am clicking and dragging, it is working. I am right clicking, it is working. So right click is working, selection is working. We need to disable that. So to disable, very simple, what we can do is on body load, on load, on load. So we can write the function, or directly you can write the functions in the body, like on context menu. Context menu means right click. It should return false. Similarly, on select, it should return false. And on select start, it should return false. It should return false, return false. So similarly, on copy, so it should return false like this. On cut, it should return false. So here, some browsers can understand select start. Some browsers can understand selection start. So we have to write both. On selection start. Selection start is equal to, it should also return false. Now you can see all are returning false. I will refresh this page now. So before refreshing, observe selection is working, right click is working. I will just refresh. Now once I refresh, now I am trying to select, it is not working. I am selecting, dragging, it is not working. I am trying to right click, my right click also not working. So currently in this page, selection is disabled, right click is disabled. I am unable to select the content, I cannot right click. So we cannot perform those operations through the mouse interactions. So that means we are disabling the selection. We are disabling the selection. Now see, in computers, there is no permanent security, right? So any type of security has a drawback. We can handle that. The point here is, now you are using Control A, Control Z, anything, it will not work now. But of course, anybody can take a screenshot now. Your Control A will not work, Mr. Mohan. Okay, but anybody can take a screenshot now. Am I right? Huh? Anybody can take a screenshot, right? Now, so you are disabling right click. You are disabling right click. Anybody can take a screenshot. So there is no permanent security, right? You are just temporarily preventing it. So you can crack and you can handle it. So if anybody uses a print screen option, what do you say? They cannot copy, they can copy the contents, right? So we can do in so many ways. So many alternative techniques are there. So there are so many alternative techniques, right? So you cannot manage anything. You cannot manage everything. There is a solution for every problem here, right? Even you block the taking of screenshots. So there are alternative methods of taking. Can I use a sniping tool? Can I use sniping tool? Through sniping tool, I can snipe now. What do you say? If screenshot is disabled, there are no tools to take the screenshot. That means through sniping tool, we can take the sniping of the tool. It is not a screenshot actually, right? We can do everything. So temporarily we are preventing for certain security levels. Up to certain levels it is secured, but not permanent. You can do everything. You can do everything. Am I right? So you can do everything. So the point is, so any point is possible. Everything is possible. Just the point is, up to certain limits we can prevent it. We can prevent it. Now don't tell about alternatives. There are so many alternatives. Nobody in the world can protect your applications. There are certain issues. Those issues, if we can find out, we can easily crack your application, right? You cannot prevent anything permanently. That is the biggest issue in the electronic devices. So there are options to crack those issues. Due to that, several things are not secured online actually. So important is some security levels we can maintain up to certain level. That is only the point. Now don't think that you cannot do this. So everybody can right click, everybody can copy. You haven't invented any new thing for that, right? That is a general thing. There are so many alternative techniques to handle. So I am not right clicking, I am unable to right click. Can I view the page source now? I am unable to right click. Can I view the page source? Page source, can I see the page source now? I am unable to right click. Can I view the page source? So we can use the page source. I can use Control U. Control U opens the page source. Am I right? I can press F12 function key. It will open the debugger. F12 function key will open the debugger. There I can see the page source. There is no permanent security for that. Temporarily we are disabling these options. Am I right? Right. That is the important point. So that's the reason we need to know few important options, how we can handle them. Up to certain limits we can do that. And this is an example for how you can disable cut, copy, paste, or like such actions. Just we need to configure it to return false. Now don't talk about alternatives. That's like silly thing, because everybody knows about alternatives, and it is not a permanent security we are giving as a solution here. Big banking like websites also, they ask you don't push back button. Can you push back button? Can you push back button while transaction is going on? Right? So when a transaction is going on, can you push back button? So they will ask you to don't push back button, but they cannot avoid from pushing back button. You can push back button. Am I right? Right? That means, so even that such huge banking like applications also cannot prevent the data. So cannot prevent certain actions. So you can't think about securities. Okay, right. Now important is, this is only a technique of handling certain aspects, right? Like disabling, how we can disable the options. So this is all related to some events. These are the events. Now some more important events, we have the events like on change. On change is nothing but it specifies the actions to perform. So when value is changed, actions to perform when value is changed. When value is changed, if you want some actions to perform, then we can define on change. On click, that's general thing. It specifies actions to perform on click. Actions to perform on click. We have on DBL click. It specifies the actions. To perform on double click. These are all several miscellaneous events. So we have on change. That means when value is changed, we can use this on change for drop downs, for numeric up down, for sliders. You can use this on change event. For example, suppose I'm defining here a simple change. When value is being changed, we can perform some actions, define some actions. So here we are configuring. So a simple div. So we will put a div. Yeah. And in this div, we are adding an image, img src. Okay, is equal to some images, right? Images. In the images, some speaker, something like this. Okay, this is image. So width and height. Okay. Now this is justifying the content. So link relation is equal to style sheet and href is equal to node modules. Okay. Bootstrap dist css bootstrap.css. Fine. Now here we are managing some functionalities. So just put a class as container. Okay. And here we will class as, yeah, we will put ID as some box. So let's put some style here. Style as so box hash box, and so justify content center. Okay. Margin to auto. Okay. Align items to center. Okay. This is general design we have created. Now in this here, we are adding some more options to understand here. That is, we need to keep this content and define the content with a slider so that I can adjust the size here. So div, I will put a ID as box. Okay, let's keep this ID as box, and input type is equal to range. So min is equal to 1 and max is equal to some 5. That is the range we have defined. So here we are using so 100 and 500. That is the range values defined. 100% and 500%. That is the options we have defined. Okay. And by default, we are having a value. So a value is equal to 1. Value equal to 1. That is the value defined. Now our intention is to keep this. So our intention is to keep this. Very important is text align. So to center. Okay. Our intention is to keep this like this here now. Now I am changing this zoom level, then the object size should increase according to that. That means when moving the slider, we want to change the size of that particular image according to the slider. And here we have 1 to 5 values, 5 values. And for every value, 100% width and height should be increased for that. Then what is when user is changing the value here, we will keep an ID as a txt range. Okay. And on change, that means range, say zoom function will be called. Okay. That is our own function name. So what we are doing in the head section, so we have a script. In the script, we have a function that is zoom. This zoom function should collect value txt range is equal to document get element by id txt range dot value. That means what value they are selecting, it will come there. Okay. Next point, I need to collect this picture. So id as pic. So we will collect that picture also. So where pic is equal to document get element by id pic. Okay. Now we are using a switch case here. Into the switch, we are passing txt range. That means the range number is passed into the switch. Okay, here we are using a case. The case is if it is 1, then what should happen? If it is 1, then pic dot width is equal to, so is equal to 100 pixel. We are giving 100. And pic dot height is equal to, that is 100. Width and height to 100 and put the break. That is the pic height and width if it is 1. Similarly, we will use here if it is case 2, then it will be 200. And if it is case 3, then it will be 300, 300, 300. And if it is case 4, so then it is 400 and 400. If it is case 5, so then it will be 500, 500. It's your wish, you can define anything. Now very important is the peak width will be changing according to the value you have selected. TXT range will send the value from the slider. When user is changing on change, it will call this zoom function. Zoom function will collect that value and it will apply to the pick according to the case. So that means what happens now here is I am moving this. So 1 point, its size will be increased. 2 point, its size will be increased. And 3, its size will be increased. That is the maximum. So we can zoom back, then it will be size will be adjusted here. We are adjusting the size of that image. That means on change, we are changing the size of the image. We are changing the size of the image and we are displaying it. So important is on change, we can collect the value continuously and apply that, right? So that also we can manage. When you are changing, it can continuously apply. Currently we are using only one point. So the width and height can be directly applied. So width and height can be directly applied, right? Generally, for example, this is one example of how you are managing the change event. How you are managing the change event. Suppose I am not using a switch case. I am not using a switch case. I am removing this. That is level by level zooming. I am not using a switch case. I will use like this. Pick dot width is equal to pick dot width is equal to txt range into 100. I am defining like this. Into 100. That's how we are defining that. Into 100. So, or into 10. We are configuring in this way. So similarly, pick dot height HEIG. Okay, height is equal to txt range into 10. I'm using this, multiplying with 10. Actually, this txt range should get us a number, because you are multiplying here. So it should get us a number. So here you can see it is showing with the 10% here value. Suppose I am putting here as 100 here, means multiplying that. And I am moving this and you can see that it will increase. Without the switch also we can manage that. Just directly you can multiply with that size and we can configure that. There are several ways. Means based on the levels how we can configure and zoom. And important is there can be so many levels defined. Here we are using only the range. So 1 and max 5. It depends on how you define the range, how you define the value. So minimum, maximum, as you want, you can configure that. Then you can make it more better in appearance also. That means it's not necessary that you have to use a switch. So we can do that without switch also. Another example I am posting here. So just we are collecting that and we are displaying, multiplying with 100 and applying. That means when user is changing, so it is performing some functionality. When user is changing, it is performing the functionality. Now important is this can happen for different. For example, suppose at the div here I am adding in the div, at the div here is a box and here we have a, so yes, we have a data list and a data term. So zoom and the data definition. And here in this I will add this zoom part. So I will add that zoom part here. So we are adding that here. So that is in the data list, we have this. And suppose here I am adding. So here I am adding. So another option is data term. So picture. So select pick. And here we are defining data definition, a select box here. And so class as suppose we are using form control, and here we are defining an ID as lst picks. And important is now you can see that